Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Insurance and Real Estate Committee's meeting for Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. The meeting is now convened. Any remarks by chairs or vice chairs or ranking?
Yep. Thank you, Representative Wood. We have a pretty good agenda. I think we'll get through it pretty quickly. At least that's my hope. So we can get going. Thank you.
Senator Wong.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and eager to get started. It reflects the feedback that we've gotten from testimony and engagement, but also I think as this committee's leadership has demonstrated that we're looking forward to working on these bills as work in progress and moving forward to full consideration of the House and the Senate. So again, some of these votes may be consideration of moving it forward, but nevertheless a commitment to continual work in progress. And I look forward to being part of that solution as well with leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. We will move to number 3, bills for review. SB number 1269 is an act concerning long-term care insurance. The JFS language was in line with some of the feedback from comments that there's too much reporting in public hearings and we'd like to see some more action. So the JFS language has a cap of premiums cannot go over 10% per year. And then it's still in place here that at 15 years of holding a long-term care policy, no more increases would happen unless it was tied to CPI. Do I have a motion to JFS SB 1269 to the floor?
Yeah.
Moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved by Senator Juan, seconded by Senator Cabrera. Any discussion? Representative Pavlock D'Amato.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple questions. I know we have struggled with this topic for many years and different solutions have been brought forward, and we have had long conversations with many individuals in the industry. I don't know if we've quite found the answer or quite found the answer in this. My question and concern is with capping the rates at the rates and the increases. Is there a concern that this could put some of these companies out of business if their expenses, of course, increase and they are not able to then cover their claims and their costs going forward, since the cost of long-term care has increased a lot over, of course, the last several and many years?
There is always that consequence when you do capping like this of insolvency. And what that would mean is that the solvency fund, which LCO, can you just remind me what it's called? Is it called the general fund? What's the fund that we have for when insurance policies go insolvent?
I think you might be referring
Guarantee fund. Thank you. The guarantee fund would then come in and cover people likely at a lesser extent of what their policies would cover. But that is not saying that the caps will do that. But if there was an insolvency, that is what would happen, that the guarantee fund would cover people who have purchased these plans.
Okay. And then, but yet at a likely or most likely a less coverage. So I don't know if that person necessarily is better off, of course. So yes, I have concerns with this bill. I do like some of the other portions. That is fine, but I'm going to support it coming out of committee. And again, out of frustration, I know we just have not been able to find the answer that everybody likes. So again, I will be flagging it, but it's still supporting it out of committee. So thank you.
Any other discussion on SB 1269? I have to reference the LCO number, which is 5684. Senator Wong.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for this opportunity. And long-term care insurance is an issue that the committee leadership has long tried to better understand, and we've had many informational hearing initiated by the leadership of this committee and gotten some tremendous insight. But I also want to note that there are many other committees in the General Assembly that are considering this issue. And that my hope is in passing this bill out in the Committee of Cognizance related to insurance, that we can take all the very good ideas from the various committees and the public hearings that have been held and be able to incorporate a work in progress. As I said earlier in the beginning of this meeting, is that this is one case of a bill where we can take all the information, the expertise and input from all the shareholders and produce a bill that this Committee of Cognizance can move forward. So this bill would be a fantastic vehicle to kind of consolidate all the good ideas that we've had to be able to move it forward. So I urge support of this, but also recognize that, as I said earlier, this continues to be a work in progress as we move along. So I urge support of this, but recognizing we're going to continue to work on this.
Senator Anwar.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. Madam Chair, I will be supporting this bill, but I just want to also make a statement that this is continuing the conversation. The issue is far more complex. This is getting us closer, perhaps, to symptomatic treatment, but not the comprehensive cure. But at least it's a starting point, so I will be supporting it and then hoping that we can continue this conversation. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I do. I have my hand up.
Rep Nuccio.
Thank you. First of all, can you please say the LCO again?
5684.
Okay, I didn't see, nothing popped up when I tried to pull that up, so I just wanted to make sure I had it right. So I just wanted to correct one of the things that was said. If a company goes insolvent, the guarantee fund does kick in, but the guarantee fund does not pay the difference. That then becomes a state assessment. It becomes an assessment, a nationwide assessment on every state that business does business in, and it's an increase to healthcare costs. So it does not just get covered by the guarantee board. Just wanted to correct that. I know we've talked about this topic quite a few times since I've been here, and it is a conflict, a topic that is kind of mired in a lot of emotion and a lot of dismay because the rates keep going up. But what this bill really doesn't do is address the high cost of care that we're seeing in these types of facilities, with increases to wages and increases to rates and everything else. This isn't going to address the cost of that care. It's just going to really cap what an insurance company can charge for it. So my concern is, as Representative Pavlak-D'Amato said, the people who are in this industry are going to end up leaving because they can't control their costs. You know, we're not giving any ability for them to control the costs. So I think I'm going to be no on this today, just to flag it. And hopefully we can continue to work between all the different pieces of legislation to try to do something meaningful to the cost of this care.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JFS LCO number 5684 to the floor. Representative Wood,
Yes.
Senator Cabrera,
Yes.
Representative Barry,
Yes.
Senator Anwar,
Yes.
Representative Pavlak-D'Amato,
Yes.
Senator Wong,
Senator Huang says yes.
Representative Ali Brennan,
Representative Ali Brennan votes yes.
Representative Delnicki,
Yes.
Representative Meskers, Representative Nuccio,
Rep. Nuccio is a no.
Senator Honig, Senator Lesser, Senator Marks. Marks is a yes.
Great. Next, we have HB 6981. LCO is 6059. This is an act concerning electronic postings of certain document by insured, non-renewal or cancellation of property and casualty insurance, Federal Home Loan Bank and the Insurers Rehabilitation and Liquidation Act, and hypothecation of assets and surplus lines insurance. The JFS language changes were minor. They were just technical related to a couple suggestions that we heard during our public hearing. Do we have a motion to JFS this to the floor? Moved by Senator Juan. Do we have a second? Second by Representative Barry. Any discussion? Senator Lesser.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, in the public hearing, the Connecticut Insurance Department testified against the bill, expressing concerns about certain provisions about opting in versus opting out. Have those concerns been addressed?
The Department of Insurance submitted written testimony. They did not testify in person, and they submitted a similar bill asking to go to paperless. So they're asking for the same changes that the industry is asking for, and we're giving everyone the same ability to move to an electronic means of communication.
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I understood that. So you're saying that their written testimony that they submitted in opposition to those sections was a clerical error on their part?
The Department of Insurance is asking for the same exact changes in their bill that the industry is asking for. So both industry and the department are asking to go paperless, and we are granting both the department and the industry the ability to go paperless. The insurance bill was already JF'd out of the committee with similar language.
Okay, I'm just looking at the testimony that they have submitted, which indicated some concerns about the consumer protections there. So just as a placeholder, I'll be flagging this with a no vote.
Any other questions? Representative Pavlik Tomato.
Thank you. I know we have discussed this, and I do have concerns about any opting out of the of mail service. Again, if you're not, I have a lot of older clients, and you know, if you're not savvy with the computer or don't have it easily at home, again, it's difficult for somebody to even go on and find that. Some people just don't use email. And I mean, the other concern, I get hundreds, if not thousands of emails a day, not seeing certain notices. I know it's happened to me before, either it goes in spam or I just can't get to it, but it comes to me in mail in person. Well, it's right in front of me. So it's hard to miss at that point. I do, however, the second portion of the bill, the loan, I believe the loan, as far as the home loan banks, is that in this bill as well?
That is correct.
And I know I want to thank all the advocates who have taken time to sit down and talk to me. And I know I had some concerns and maybe still have some concerns about portions of those provisions. However, I do think the underlying issue of more capital and having additional lenders and lending in greater amounts, I think is more important for this state and for our progress moving forward. So I will be supporting this bill, and do think that second part, as much as I'm not a fan of the mailing in the first portion, do think the second half is so important for our state. So I will be supporting it. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Senator Wong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is a opt-out, which I think is an important component. I think the leadership of this committee considered making sure that as we move on the request of the insurance department and the industry to create a more effective computerized and notification system, we did take pains as a committee to ensure that there is an opt-out option and that there is an option for mail documentation. I think that was important to be noted in this. And so it really is an important part to kind of create some efficiencies and quality life improvements for policyholders. And I think Section 16 is also an important consideration in that light, where we're asking the insurance department to conduct a study in regards to the use of digital insurance payment processing systems to ensure that efficiencies and clicks or glicks are studied and understood so that we can go to those systems, but cautiously. So I think this bill accounts for a lot of the challenges and some of the fears in regards to electronic transactions. But Section 16, the addition of the study, will give us more background data to ensure that when it goes into implementation of the various other areas, that we're doing it with safety and with experience. So I think this bill is a move forward, and I want to thank the proponents that have raised this many years before, and hopefully we can get this passed through the finish line this year. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Any other questions? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JFS LCO number 6059 to the floor. Representative Wood,
Yes.
Senator Cabrera,
Yes.
Representative Barry,
Yes.
Senator Anwar,
Yes.
Representative Pavlock Tomato. Yes. Senator Wong,
Senator Wong, yes.
Representative Ali Brennan. Are you muted, Representative?
Sorry, Representative Ali Brennan votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Delnicki.
Yes.
Representative Meskers. Representative Nuccio.
Yes.
Senator Honig. Senator Lesser.
No.
Senator Marks.
Next, moving on to number 3, HB 7079, and that concerning insurance regulation in the state. This is just a placeholder bill and just requires the commissioner to study insurance regulation. Do we have a motion to JF to the floor? Moved by Representative Pavlock Tomato. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Delnicki. Any discussion? Senator Lesser.
Yes, Madam Chair, on March 5th, a large trade association in the state emailed its members saying that although this is a placeholder bill, that there is an intention following this bill leaving committee to replace it with a large healthcare bill that has not had a public hearing. Is that accurate?
That is not accurate, that this would be anything different than what it is, but I'd be happy to entertain an amendment to make this something else if you were offering that.
I guess I'm not sure that. So the question is what the trade association represented to its members was that they had heard that this bill, after leaving committee, was going to be replaced with an amendment that would bring forward a large healthcare bill that was not receiving a public hearing. And if that's the case, obviously that would be a concern. It certainly would circumvent the committee process in any meaningful sense. That would be an unusual thing. So we can't control what a trade association is going to tell to its members. But I guess the question that I was asking you, Madam Chair, and the leadership of the committee is just to make sure that that email was a mistake, that is not the plan of this committee.
It's a placeholder bill, so the bill can be used for a variety of things.
If that's the case, that I will be voting no on this because I think it's important that we support the committee process and that everything that moves forward has a public hearing. So if the chair cannot commit that this bill is not a stalking horse for a large concept that has already been drafted that has not received a public hearing, that would be a concern, and that's also potentially an affront to the joint rules in the legislative process.
Any other comments or questions?
Madam Chair, I will be also voting no, just to flag it. I don't know enough about this, so we'll flag it today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JF HB 7079, an act concerning insurance regulation in the state. Representative Wood. Senator Cabrera. Representative Barry.
Yes.
Senator Anwar.
No.
Representative Pavlock Tomato. Senator Wong. Representative Ali Brennan.
Representative Ali Brennan votes yes.
Representative Delnicki. Representative Meskers. Representative Nuccio.
Rep. Nuccio votes no.
Senator Honig. Senator Lesser.
Senator Lesser votes no.
Senator Marks.
Marks votes no.
All right, moving on to number 4, SB 1322, and that concerning nonprofit human service providers requiring studies of insurance pooling for nonprofit organizations and certain practices by homeowners insurance companies for exempting nonprofit organizations from certain automobile insurance and bond requirements. The motion would be to JF this to judiciary. And we did not make any changes since the public hearing. Do we have a motion to JF to judiciary? Moved by Senator Wong. Do we have a second? Second by Representative Pavlock D'Amato. Any discussion? Representative Pavlock D'Amato.
Just a couple questions. I know we have talked with the nonprofits and about their concerns. And I am not sure all of this I can support, but I know they are, of course, facing really a high wall that they have to overcome with this upcoming budget year. Lines 11 through 16 discusses liability, and I believe states that the nonprofit provider, if they have a purchase contract, service contract with the state, that they cannot be held liable for any injury to a person caused by any negligence or omissions. And I was just wondering where that portion came from, and if there's any concerns about that paragraph through you.
Yes, it just came from issues that these organizations are dealing with. That's then reflective in their cost of coverage. The committee felt that the details of the liability piece would be best to be discussed in the Judiciary Committee. So that's why it is going to be JF to Judiciary to, I think, hone in on probably some of your concerns and other people that have concerns about this language.
Okay, and thank you for that. I of course do, I don't necessarily disagree with the length of and how, I'll say, litigation has, of course, increased costs for everybody. And so increasing costs for, again, nonprofits with their limited budgets. I'm not against having a discussion on the topic altogether, but I just think that paragraph is a little broad where we could probably work on it. And yes, maybe judiciary would be the better committee to refine that language and work on it. So that way we are maybe limiting some liability, but at the same time, for somebody who does, they're being driven, they get hurt, that they are able to, their family is able to recover somehow. So, but I will be supporting this out of committee, and I do thank the chairwoman for her work on this. Thank you.
Senator Lesser.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually echo a lot of the concerns that Representative Pavlock D'Amato just articulated. I certainly share the committee's goal of lowering insurance costs for our nonprofit community providers, and there is language in here that I think is good and interesting, but I am concerned about indemnifying them against liability. I'm also concerned about a provision that seems to suggest that nonprofits don't need car insurance, which I think would expose nonprofits to significant problems. And I think there's a reason we want people to, car insurance may be expensive, but not having car insurance might be quite a bit more expensive than having car insurance. So I will support the bill today, provided that, because it's referred to judiciary, I'm hopeful that the Judiciary Committee will have an opportunity to look at both of those provisions. I just think that that they're both quite concerning, and that it would be unfortunate if those two problems would prevent the balance of the bill from going forward.
Everyone's concerns are valid on this. I just want to share a little bit from the testimony of the nonprofits that their auto insurance and liability is increasing so much that they are unable to provide services to their population, which, sometimes it's the only way that they get out of their group homes. And we definitely don't want people to be stuck in their homes all day. So hear everyone's concerns, and it sounds like there's a lot more work to do on this, and hopefully we can continue that work with the Judiciary Committee. Any other questions or comments? Senator Wong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, woman, I echo the concerns and sentiments that were raised, but for me, listening to the Alliance and particularly our nonprofits, their insurance costs, particularly one of the biggest cost factors for them is transportation, and this is our committee's cognizance and understanding that how we can give some relief to the challenges posed by our nonprofits. And that was a big part of the rationale for this bill. But also in the leadership's conversations, we recognize because of the liability and some of the implications of this bill, we needed to send it to Judiciary. But I think what this committee did in the work as part of this leadership is to recognize that our nonprofits share a tremendous cost burden in regards to car insurance in liability. So it's a positive move forward, but it is part of our role as a committee to raise that concern as a work in progress. And I hope that we continue to try to find a compromise that eases the burden. And one of the issues was pooling that was suggested to be able to provide our nonprofits as part of the Alliance to be able to utilize reinsurance and risk sharing. So again, there's opportunities for us as a committee cognizant to begin this conversation, but Judiciary is going to have a big part in the implementation to be sure that all the liability protections exist as well. So I urge moving this forward and working with the knowledge base of that can educate us to how we can find a good compromise to support our nonprofits. So I urge support of this.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JF SB 1322 to Judiciary. Representative Wood,
Yes.
Senator Cabrera. Representative Barry. Yes. Senator Anwar.
Yes.
Representative Pavlock D'Amato.
Yes.
Senator Wong.
Senator Fong, yes.
Representative Ali Brennan. Representative Delnicki. Representative Meskers. Representative Nuccio.
Rep. Nuccio is a no.
Senator Honig. Senator Lesser.
Yes.
Senator Marks.
No.
Next up, we have HB 7117, and that concerning the recommendations of the Insurance Fund Working Group. This working group was created out of a bill from last session. And the committee met over the summer and provided the recommendations this January. And it basically has a phase in of moving the public health fee as well as OHS to the general fund over a 5-year period, and putting a process in place for putting future assessments on health and property and casualty and other insurance plans. Do we have a motion to JF to the floor? Motion by Senator Wong, a second? Second by Representative Barry. Any discussion? Senator Anwar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, as I was reading this bill, I could not understand about why is the funding being reduced from the public health fee deposited, and how would that impact public health in our state?
It would not impact the funding for it at all. It just moves it over a 5-year period into the general fund. The insurance assessment or the insurance fund is related to insurance, and it was becoming a place where a lot of during tough times, during tough budget negotiations, things were being moved to the insurance fund. And again, these are direct paths throughs to consumers in the state. And rather than moving down a path of constantly increasing the insurance fund, the committee's recommendations were to make sure that the insurance fund is focused on insurance, and these other fees would be moved over to the general fund over a 5-year period, so that it wouldn't be a one-time, hit to the general fund. But it doesn't reduce any of the funding.
So how would this impact the Office of Health Strategies?
It just moves their funding from the insurance fund over to the general fund.
Madam Chair, I will be a no today. The reason is it reduces the transparency when we look at the funding. Sometimes you see that some of these agencies are getting funding from the insurance support. And it's good to know who's paying what and then who's paying for what. So sometimes it goes in the general fund, you lose that transparency. So I'll be a no, and I'll do a little bit more homework. And just because I'm no today doesn't mean that when it comes in front of the committee, the Senate, I would change my vote. Thank you.
Senator Lesser.
Thank you. Do you happen to know, does the committee know if there is currently room under the spending cap to account for the increased room in the general fund?
That would be a question for the Appropriations Committee.
Okay. Right now, the programs covered by the public health fee and the Office of Health Strategy have a dedicated source of funds. Does the committee know if there's a dedicated? I understand the intention is to include it within the general fund, but is there a dedicated funding stream that would support the programs?
This used to be funded by the general fund during the 2027 era during a difficult budget session. They were moved into the insurance fund. So the general fund would be able to support these programs. For everyone to know, the chairs of the Appropriation Committee were also chairs of the working group. So this was done with the chairs of the Appropriation Committee, chairs of the Insurance and Real Estate Committee, and the Insurance Department and other members. So this is not going to reduce these programs or get rid of them in any way. It's just how they are funded and making sure that we're giving relief to people's health, PNC, and other plans. I would argue, and I think a lot of us would argue that, when we're paying our auto insurance, we shouldn't be covering the Office of Health Strategy. But those and other things came up in the discussions we had. They're all public, and we also issued a report, which we're happy to share with everybody.
And I apologize. Thank you for that. I haven't actually had a chance I saw the report when it first came out, but I haven't reviewed it recently. Just curious, how much money are we talking about?
I believe it is 13 million for OHS and 900,000 for public health.
Okay. And in terms of the public health programs that are covered, my understanding is that includes syringe service programs, AIDS services, breast and cervical cancer detection and treatment, X-ray screening and tuberculosis care, sexually transmitted disease control, and children's health initiatives. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, but we don't know if that funding is, if we were to pass this bill, but there isn't room under the spending cap, we could have a situation where all of those services are not funded?
The services would be funded. We have the support from the appropriations chairs who signed off on this, that they would find the ways to fund this through the general fund. So there was no talk of eliminating these programs. It's just a talk of how they are being funded.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I appreciate that commitment. Since I haven't had a chance to talk to them, I just am going to have to flag this with a no vote. I just think it's concerning. I understand I don't want to pay higher car insurance rates any more than anybody else does, but just concerning about figuring out ways to continue these vital services.
Senator Marks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too will be voting no. I align with the two good senators who spoke before me. I just am concerned that this money will go into the general fund and will not get into the Office of Health Strategies and the Public Health Department, especially in this very trying times that we have right now with budgets. So I will be a no. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JF HB 7117, an act concerning the recommendations of the Insurance Fund Working Group to the floor. Representative Wood.
Yes.
Senator Cabrera. Representative Barry.
Yes.
Senator Anwar.
No.
Representative Pavlock D'Amato. Senator Wong. Representative Ali Brennan. Representative Delnicki. Representative Meskers.
Yes.
Representative Nuccio.
Yes.
Senator Honig. Senator Lesser.
No.
Senator Marks. Thank you.
Next on number 6, SB 1385, an act requiring the insurance commissioner to conduct a study of flood insurance. This committee held an informational forum about a month and a half ago on the importance of educating our homeowners and property owners on the importance of having flood insurance. I'd love for this bill to grow, maybe putting some money behind it as a way we can educate people about the needs and importance of getting flood insurance. But right now, we have left it as a study. Do we have a motion to JF 1385 to the floor? Moved by Senator Wong. Do we have a second? Second by Representative Meskers. Any discussion? Representative Meskers.
You know, I think along with the bill you'd mentioned, or the issues of training for our residents on driving and auto safety to reduce costs, the climate issues in the state, the amount of flooding, the tropical storms are providing us with tremendous costs. We're either going to encourage flood insurance, or the state is going to be left trying to figure out, does it leave our residents abandoned or covered? So anything we can do here to promote the adoption of more flood insurance, to get the residents informed, to have the brokers who sell houses, to make sure that we get anything we can do to improve it. It's great. So I totally support it. I thought our session and the information on it was very informative. So I'll be supporting it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Senator Wong.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. This is an issue that came on the heel of the August storms that hit communities that impact many of us. And this program was a result of the leadership of this committee convening experts in the area of awareness and education, and recognizing that I think one of the most powerful statements made in that meeting was, if it can rain in your location, it can flood. And I think raising the study to better understand the cost implications, but also educating the climate change impact of flooding is much more a part of this study. And as noted by the leadership of this committee in past years, it's not only homes that have been damaged that we're looking to protect and give relief to, but businesses that we've heard tragic stories about. But I think another point this committee led on was understanding that our farmers that were devastated by some of the floodings in their business. So it is something that I think addresses climate change's impact in our insurance, and understanding the cost implications of increased utilization of that product. I also want to commend the governor and the administration that in August, earlier on this year, raised the point of flood insurance and notification, as well as being able to put funds in regards to damages that occurred to the communities that were affected, one of which was obviously Newtown, which I represent. So I think this is a recognition that climate change will impact our insurance needs, and this bill provides a study to better understand, to better educate, and to better prepare for some of the impact that may occur. So I urge support of this, but I also know that through the governor's office and hopefully with the legislature, that we can be able to provide relief to many of those entities that have struggled with recovering from devastating loss. So thank you for raising this bill, and I look forward to supporting it and moving it through, and finding ways to help people in our communities impacted by devastation of climate change. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other comments? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JF SB 1385 to the floor. Representative Wood.
Yes.
Senator Cabrera. Representative Barry.
Yes.
Senator Anwar.
Yes.
Representative Pavlock Tomato. Senator Wong. Representative Ali Brennan. Representative Delnicki. Representative Meskers.
Yes.
Representative Nuccio.
Yes.
Senator Honig. Senator Lesser. Senator Marks. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, number 7, SB 1386. LCO is 6014. This is an act concerning dog breed and insurance underwriting and evaluating the feasibility of establishing a penalty for misrepresenting a dog as a service animal. This was based on the NCOIL model, dog breed anti-discrimination model that was passed at a national level. It also has language in there to do a feasibility for establishing a penalty for misrepresenting a dog as a service animal. Do we have a motion to JFS to the floor?
So move.
Moved by Senator Anwar. Do we have a second? Second by Representative Meskers. Any discussion? Senator Anwar.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, this is a part of the bill is very good bill, which is making sure there's no discrimination based on the breed, owner of a pit bull. It's important for me from that perspective. But having said that, the part about this being a service animal, I think the federal definition is a little behind. So of course, will support this bill today, but I think it's worthy to put on the table that the definition for service animal is much more inclusive now, functionally speaking, and the federal government has not been up to date. Whether it's taking medications, hypoglycemia, diabetic ketoacidosis, seizure disorder, dogs are there for so many different medical conditions right now that should be considered in our conversation. So I just wanted to put that on the record that the federal definition needs to improve. And I know this is based on a federal definition, but when we move forward, we should be more inclusive and up to date on the definition. So thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. That will definitely include that going forward. Any other comments? Representative Meskers.
I think Senator Anwar and I will come at some slightly different points. I'm sympathetic to the pleas I've heard from dog owners about the discrimination in breeds. I'm also looking at the potentiality, anecdotally, the difference between getting bitten by a Chihuahua and getting bitten by a dog with a certain level of pounds per square inch of pressure, right? PSI. So I'm going to study it, just flag it. I definitely support the work of the committee and I'll bring it forward. But you know, I can't figure out how to deal with the breed issue, and I realize it's a passion issue. The supermarkets are going to have more dog food in them than they will human food in another couple of years. I know how much their pets matter to them, but I am concerned about it. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Meskers. Any other questions? Representative Nuccio, would you like to add anything? I know this is a bill that you have been very passionate about over the years.
Thank you for that opportunity, Madam Chair. And I hear what Representative Meskers is saying, but my challenge would be that there are several dogs that have the bite radius and the pounds per square inch that are not on this list of discriminated against dogs. And as Senator Anwar said, dogs are used for so many different things now. And the fact that people can continue to discriminate against certain breeds of dogs when we know for fact that the insurance industry cannot provide a single bit of information that can say how many claims are attributable to these 13 breeds of dogs. This is not something new. It's information I've been talking about for the last 3 to 4 years. We passed it out of committee last year. And I'm happy to see that it's getting more support and it's going to be passed out of committee this year also. I think this is something that we really need to consider looking at the types of breeds of dogs and the fact that only certain ones are discriminated against, and also the people who tend to own those dogs. So I'm happy that we're going to hopefully get this out of committee today, and I continue to look forward to working with anybody who has any concerns on it.
Thank you for your work on this, Representative Nuccio. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JFS LCO number 6014 to the floor. Representative Wood.
Yes.
Senator Cabrera.
Yes.
Representative Barry.
Yes.
Senator Anwar.
Yes.
Representative Pavlock Tomato.
Yes.
Senator Wong.
Senator Huang, yes.
Representative Ali Brennan. Representative Delnicki.
Yes.
Representative Meskers.
Yes.
Representative Nuccio.
Yes.
Senator Honig. Senator Lesser.
No.
Senator Marks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Number 8, HB 6895. And the LCO is 5777. This is an act concerning health benefit review. The JFS language has the sunset date after a health benefit to be 4 years. The data would then be collected and we would review that as an insurance and real estate committee. This also requires fiscal notes for the exchange. So it talks about fiscal notes in sections 2 and 3. And the last section includes the biomarker mandate that came over from the aging committee. And the bill originally had the PKU language that Senator Austin was also looking for, but after further review, that is already covered in our state mandated benefits. So that was removed from here. So that is the JFS language. Do we have a motion to JFS to the floor? Moved by Senator Wong. Do we have a second? Second by Representative Meskers. And any discussion? Senator Lesser.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A few concerns about this language. First of all, I was initially excited to see the biomarker provisions were included. I was disappointed on further review to realize that the language here is substantially different from the language that was requested by the American Cancer Society and other advocacy groups looking to ensure that we have robust protections for people who are needed biomarker coverage. And so I want to just flag that issue for the committee. And then separately with regard to the health benefit review, this is an issue that's come up in this session, in this legislature a number of times. And I just want to reiterate some of the concerns. First of all, the process concerns. This is about writing a law intended to encumber the legislature. We can't really do that. We're governed by the Constitution and by the joint rules and by the rules of the respective houses. And so I would suggest that may not have the effect that the proponents are looking to achieve. And then more broadly on a policy basis, insurance is too expensive. I think the general argument here is that the reason insurance is expensive is because we require it to cover stuff. And maybe that's true. It's certainly a component of it. But there are a lot of other reasons why insurance is expensive. And I think that the single-minded focus on coverage as the driver is misguided and ignores a lot of other drivers that are not being addressed in this committee. And so for all of those reasons, I am not prepared to support the bill today, and I will be voting no.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? Senator Wong.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. Healthcare cost is unaffordable and it continues to rise every single year. I think for many of us on this committee and throughout the legislature, every year there's a rate request meeting. We go there and we talk about how it's unaffordable and it's unsustainable. But one of the frustrations that this bill is trying to address is for transparency and accountability. That there is not a benefit that we consider in this building that is a bad idea. It serves a goal, it addresses critical issues, but nevertheless, it adds cost to the overall bill. And we pass bills from the heart and from all our good intentions to support the advocates we represent. But nevertheless, we don't have a full fiscal note in regards to its impact to the broader market and policyholders. So for me, this is a bill that is a move forward in transparency and accountability. And I encourage that because we need to balance that for the affordability that we so diligently try to fight for our constituencies, but you can't have it both ways. So again, I support the premise of this bill in section 1, but also I think as the co-chair of the Bipartisan Bioscience Caucus, the biomarker is an important medical innovation in saving lives and being able to diagnose in the area of rare diseases. It's important. and it kind of promotes the American exceptionalism in our medical research, and we need to support that. In fact, last year, this committee passed through the biomarker and utilize in Medicare programs. And this year, in the Aging Committee, in which I'm also the ranking, we considered moving that forward for rare disease diagnosis and possibly saving lives of people that are in the peril of these rare diseases. But I think it's also important for us to get a fiscal note on this moving forward, what the potential impact. And again, I think it's a balancing act that we need to undertake. This bill in Section 5 addresses the importance of biomarkers and reflects our respect for the advocates, including the American Cancer Society and our great pharmaceutical and bioresearch companies. But nevertheless, we need to look at the broad implication, which belies what we address in Section 1 of this bill. We need to get a better understanding of the fiscal notes, and hopefully that medical innovation can continue to increase to lower these costs. So I think this bill is a great balancer, but it also gives us the credibility to say, when we say to these insurer rate increases, that we are trying to manage your cost, balance with the unique needs that we look at and caring for the needs of our constituency and the needs out there in the healthcare delivery arena. So this is a good bill. It complements it. But again, in many of the bills in this committee, as I've articulated earlier, it continues to be a work in progress. And we need to engage all the shareholders to craft a bill that we can all be a little bit unhappy about, but at the same time, solve problems that are out there that we need to address. So I urge support, and I want to thank the leadership for the crafting of this and understanding the transparency and accountability while moving forward and respecting the Aging Committee request in implementing Section 5 as well. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Anwar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, can I clarify something with respect to the biomarker coverage? Is the leadership open to, after this bill moves out of the committee, to work on this to be in compliance with the recommendation of American Cancer Society?
Always happy to work on stuff.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JFS LCO number 5777 to the floor. Representative Wood. Senator Cabrera. Representative Barry.
Yes.
Senator Anwar.
Yes.
Representative Pavlock Tomato. Senator Wong. Representative Ali Brennan. Representative Delnicki. Representative Meskers.
Yes.
Representative Nuccio.
Yes.
Senator Honig. Senator Lesser. Senator Marks. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to number 9. HB 6871 LCO is 6125, an act limiting out-of-network healthcare costs. And the JFS language, there were just some minor things in here. The ultimate bill that we heard the public testimony on is intact. Do we have a motion to JFS HB 6871 to the floor?
So moved.
Moved by Senator Cabrera. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Nuccio. Any discussion? Senator Anwar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I will be a passionate no on this bill, and I'll try to explain why this is an important bill, because this can do harm. And in healthcare, we say that do no harm is the first most important thing. It's no secret in our state there are about 9 hospitals that are in trouble. 9 hospitals, if things do not move in the right direction, will be at the risk of going bankrupt or depend on the state of Connecticut for their functioning. If we look at the impact on the people in the state of Connecticut, over 1 million people will be negatively impacted. And over 16,000 people who are employed by these healthcare institutions would be affected. So this is a truly important aspect. What's happening is in this particular bill that is coming right out of NASHP, an organization funded by private equity, supported by insurance industry, is trying to pick winners and losers. This is the state of Connecticut saying that we are going to win on behalf of the insurance industry at the cost of the healthcare delivery systems. This is going to create a huge impact on the well-being of the citizens, but end of the day, the problem is in healthcare. If you break it, you have to pay for it. So when we break it by passing a law like this, the taxpayers will have to pay for keeping these institutions alive. And so it's going to create a disaster in healthcare. So I would not only vote no, but I would urge my colleagues to vote no as well. And also, it's worthy for people who come up with these bills to look at the background of the institutions that are pushing these bills, because they may work for some states, but a small state like Connecticut, they may be disastrous. And also looking at the health and well-being of the hospitals right now, we have to be very cautious and go back to the basic idea of doing no harm. So thank you so much, Madam Chair, for.
Thank you, Senator Anwar, and I hope that your comments do spur continued debate on this. So thank you for that. Senator Marks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to align my comments with good Senator Anwar. I am very fearful of what this bill will do, and I also think with the impending promise, and it is pretty much a promise right now, of severe Medicaid funding, cuts to Medicaid funding, that our hospitals won't be able to handle that, never mind this. So it's not the time to be looking at this, maybe somewhere down the line, although I kind of doubt that too. But it absolutely, right now at this time, is not the time to be passing this bill. Thank you.
Senator Wong.
Thank you. And I appreciate the comments of the esteemed members of this committee, and particularly someone from the medical profession that articulates so effectively. But I think this is an example of work in progress. And I think, again, going back to what I repeated earlier, when we sit in rate increase meetings and bemoan the fact that healthcare costs are unaffordable and unsustainable, we need to look at the factors that impact that. And the bill prior addressed some of the issues in regards to coverage. This is looking at really getting a better understanding and looking at the costs related to our hospitals. No doubt, our hospitals are struggling, and they did an incredible job during the COVID crisis to protect people and saving lives. But one of the things that I have seen in my experience in this committee is the fact that we have implemented benchmarking. Benchmarking occurred to give us a better basis of understanding real data to controlling cost. And one of the models that we looked at in benchmarking was Massachusetts. And the lessons learned from Massachusetts is, even though you have benchmarking, but you don't have real data and real compliance. And what Massachusetts did after their benchmarking was to institute some initiatives that were a clear revision in regards to utilization and interactions with our hospitals, with our medical providers, as well as our pharmaceutical companies. I want to commend the governor's office in understanding that affordability in healthcare is one of the biggest factors that we need to address. And some of the proposals we're considering right now is a bit of a shock to an existing system that has been unaffordable. So I think this is a bill that continues to be a constant work in progress, but I think this legislature needs to take some leadership in the collaboration of bringing all the actors, all the shareholders that have a direct impact on the cost of healthcare delivery, and be truly transparent and accountable. And I hope that this bill begins the conversation. I'll be supporting it as a work in progress and moving forward. I anticipate that there'll be many more rigorous conversations from all the shareholders to all the impacted parties that'll make these decisions. And that's good democracy. That's good transparency and accountability. But we haven't had that, I dare say, because we have not been able to control the cost of healthcare. And we cannot go back to the well every single year when we have double-digit increases and put the blame game when the legislature can initiate some policies that says we need to move away from business as usual, because unfortunately, business as usual has created an unaffordable healthcare cost delivery system. So this is a bill that begins that process, and I hope as part of this leadership in the insurance committee, as well as in the other arenas of cognizance, that we move forward to make some real concrete changes that'll benefit all the people that talk about unaffordable healthcare. And there may be some people that get kind of upset about it, and it's a dramatic change, but nevertheless, the same thing over and over again has not reduced affordability in healthcare costs. And we need to change the dynamics, as well as recognizing healthcare costs needs to be contained. And the way we've done in the past has not worked. This might be a new way to look at it. So I urge support. I know there's going to be constant conversation, and it repeats what I said earlier. This continues to be a work in progress, but I hope this committee will move this forward and continue the conversation with all the engaged shareholders. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Meskers.
Since I've sat on the insurance committee, I've had all the major players, whether they be the insurance companies, the pharmaceuticals, and the hospitals in front of me. Universally, everybody tells me they're doing their best for me. And their best is somewhere between 7 and 10% a year, compounded at about now 26 to 32,000 for a family. At 7%, that'll be $64,000 in 6 or 7 years. The cost containment it's unsustainable for the state, for our residents, for the country. Passing along those costs, even if we move it into a public option without working on cost controls, doesn't make it any more sustainable. I think we're spending 2 times or 3 times what they're spending in developed Europe for healthcare, with similar or worse outcomes. So anything that can move the needle forward, and while this one may be a lightning rod, I'll reserve when it comes to the floor in the final form a decision on how to vote. But if we refuse to look at the conversation, and we look at the issues that face us, whether it be in an industry we're trying to attract, which is the pharmaceutical industry, in the insurance industry that's headquartered in my state, or the hospitals, if we don't take hard-nosed looks, and I think we aren't doing what they sent us up here to do. So I'm more than willing to take this into the next look. So I expect I'll be supporting the bill and see how it finally comes out. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Meskers. Senator Anwar.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to speak a second time. Madam Chair, the math is very simple. About 1/3 of the population in the state has Medicaid. And we have now data to prove that the Medicaid is the lowest in this entire region. And Medicare hasn't been going up, and actually all indications are Medicare payments will decrease. And if you look at the inpatient population in any hospital, Medicare remains one of the largest group as well. So if 1/3 population is paying minimum amount, you're losing money every time a Medicaid patient comes in, a large number of money. And then the Medicare, you're actually going to reduction of that. And it is official statement from the federal government that both Medicare and Medicaid payments will be reduced. This is a bad bill on a good day, and it's a terrible bill on a bad day. And right now, all indications are it's a pretty bad days coming on the healthcare world. So this is not moving the needle forward. This is moving the needle way back. And please do no harm. You may have the votes, but please do no harm. And I'm urging you, because if this moves forward, you are picking a situation where one party will not be at the table. And when that party is not at the table, there's going to be no contracts, and the institutions that are barely making it will not make it any longer. And the impact on the community in the state of Connecticut would be huge. So I want to be on the record, because I have a feeling it's going to pass through this committee, but I want this to be on the record because I will use this moment. I will use this moment to tell everyone that this committee had the opportunity to do the right thing. But this needle was moved backwards in such a manner that we harmed the well-being of our citizens in our state. Thank you.
And thank you, Senator Anwar, for your passion and sharing that with our committee. We appreciate it. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JFS LCO number 6125 to the floor. Representative Wood,
Yes.
Senator Cabrera,
Yes.
Representative Barry,
No.
Senator Anwar,
No.
Representative Pavlock Tomato, Senator Wong,
Senator Wong, yes.
Representative Ali Brennan, Representative Delnicki, Representative Meskers,
Representative Meskers, yes.
Representative Nuccio,
Representative Nuccio is a yes.
Senator Honig, Senator Lesser, Senator Marks.
Marx is no.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to number 10, SB 1253, enact reducing health insurance rate premium requests. There is a motion to JF this to the floor. This has not changed from during our public hearing. This bill and the previous bill and the next bill again are all bills that were given to us by the governor's office. Do we have a motion to JF SB 1253 to the floor? Moved by Senator Wan. Do we have a second? Second by Representative Meskers. Any discussion? Senator Wan.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. Again, this is an echo what I won't repeat what I said earlier. Obviously, it's a work in progress. I am a little concerned, and I hope it'll be noted in the record in regards to some of the settings for premium request of our insurers. But again, it's addressing the challenge that we have on affordability and insurance, health insurance costs. So again, with the commitment of the administration as well as all the shareholders, we'll move this forward, I hope. But it continues to be a work in progress, and I think it's an important part to address healthcare cost insurance. Thank you, Madam.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JF SB 1253, enact reducing insurance rate premium requests to the floor. Representative Wood,
Yes.
Senator Cabrera,
Yes.
Representative Barry,
Yes.
Senator Anwar,
Yes.
Representative Pavlock Tomato, Senator Wong,
Senator Wong, yes.
Representative Ali Brennan, Representative Delnicki, Representative Meskers,
Yes.
Representative Nuccio,
Rep Nuccio is a no.
Senator Honig, Senator Lesser, Senator Marks. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to number 11, HB 6870, enact addressing patients' prescription drug cost. This bill also remains in the form that we heard during the public hearing, which is about importation from Canada. It also puts a cap on generic drugs. Do we have a motion to JF HB 6870 to the floor? Moved
Second.
by Cabrera, second by Senator Anwar. Any discussion? Representative Meskers.
I just want to go on the record on this one. I've asked the governor's people, I know we're going to do a study on the importation of drugs from Canada. I think ultimately the drugs are produced in Brazil or in China and in India principally. The supply to Canada is limited. I'm not objecting to the study. I've asked them, and that's why I want to go on record. I've asked them to study looking at a manufacturing formulary in association with some of the surrounding states, so that some of the generics we can, in practice, import the price and provide a supply of the generics so that we could reduce the cost. Because my fear is we will move forward and we will not find a supply coming out of Canada because there's the quantities sold in the countries at much lower prices than the United States. My guess is that they don't provide extra supply for re-export. So I just have asked that they broaden the reach of the exploration to not just import, but potentially for manufacturing formularies around the multi-state region where we could provide discounts in volume and demand to reduce drug prices if possible. So that's my request on the record, as it were. But in principle, I'm voting for the bill.
Thank you, Representative Meskers. Any other questions or comments? Senator Wong.
Thank you. I talked a little earlier about American exceptionalism in regards to our medical innovation and research, and our pharmaceutical entities are one such example of that. And we want to be cautious in supporting their incredible work. I think it's a tremendous source of pride that as I travel, to be able to say that in the state of Connecticut, the Pfizer entity was able to innovate and find the COVID vaccine that saved millions of lives. But I think we're also looking at prescription drug cost. And one of the challenges we had as a part of this bill is related to the Canadian importation. And one of the questions I asked of the experts is the fact that why does the same production of U.S. pharmaceutical companies that import the drugs to Canada have a significant price difference? And the word that came out was the fact that American innovation and research and development funds these kind of innovations and life-saving drugs, but we bear the cost as Americans in regards to the cost where we supplement the rest of the country, the rest of the world in regards to reduced costs. So I think we are taking a look at this in regards to addressing prescription drug cost, which is another cost factor in regards to healthcare delivery and affordability. But I also recognize that a large part of this is going to be federal in addressing prescription drug issues. And I know there's policies afoot, but again, this is a part of our committee's effort working with the administration to say how we can get some low-hanging fruit to lower prescription drug costs to alter the landscape of what is an unaffordable healthcare marketplace. We're trying our best. And I think that's part of it is, as I repeat, and this will be the last of the governor's bills that's going to create controversy, is the fact that we are trying to find a better way. And you can't do it by doing the same thing over and over again. So my hope is in moving this bill forward, we bring all the shareholders again and address the issue to solving the problem that is a universal affordability factor in the state of Connecticut, not only for individuals, but for businesses, as well as the health and well-being of individuals in our state that need this kind of life-saving innovation from our pharmaceutical company. So I'm urging support of this, but at the same time recognizing that it's going to need a lot of work with a lot of factors that sometimes may be out of our control, but we can try our best as a committee of cognizance in that area. So I thank the leadership for moving these bills forward. I want to thank the governor's office and their constant conversations with us. And I know the leadership of this committee have articulated to the governor's office in these proposals that it continues to be a work in progress. And I'm glad that we've gotten that commitment that we're going to continue to work toward finding better solutions. So again, a better way. These three bills from the governor's office is an initiative on that effort. But nevertheless, I think there's still a lot of work to do, and I want to move it forward to ensure that we do that. So thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Senator Anwar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'll vote yes on this bill, but I just wanted all of us to reflect on a very interesting situation. And I'll build on what Senator Wong has said, that we in the United States are most likely the source of making and identifying these medications. We are likely the source of producing these medications. But we are unfortunately have come to a point that we can't even provide these medications to our own citizens. And now the same medicines that we make, we are doing a study to import them back from Canada. How wrong is that as a situation? And I think if we really put our hearts and minds to the disaster of all the middle men, I'll use the word men here, it's probably politically correct as well. It's middlemen who are involved in making money throughout this process has resulted in the most innovative country in the world not being able to provide medications to their own citizens at an affordable price. And that is why we have to now import it from Canada. As I vote on this with sadness, because this is a failure of a system. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Anwar. Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JF HB 6870, an act addressing patients' prescription drug costs, to the floor. Representative Wood. Senator Cabrera. Representative Barry.
Yes.
Senator Anwar.
Yes.
Representative Pavlock Tomato. Senator Wong.
Yes.
Representative Ali Brennan. Representative Delnicki. Representative Meskers.
Representative Meskers, yes.
Representative Nuccio.
Representative Nuccio is a no.
Unfortunately, I do have to see your face, Representative.
So sorry about that. Rep Nuccio is a no.
No worries, thank you. Senator Honig, Senator Lesser, Senator Marks.
Marks votes yes.
Thank you.
Last, we have SB 1278, an act concerning long-term care insurance premium rates. This bill comes to us from the Aging Committee that allows an income tax deduction for long-term care insurance premiums. It requires the insurance department to hold a public hearing for long-term care premium rate increases that exceed 10%, and it requires that policyholders are provided advance notice of such a hearing. Do we have a motion to JF to the floor?
So move.
Moved by Senator Anwar, second by Senator Wong. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
This is a roll call vote to JF SB 1278, an act concerning long-term care insurance premium rates, to the floor. Representative Wood.
Yes.
Senator Cabrera. Representative Barry. Senator Anwar.
Yes.
Representative Pavlock Tomato. Senator Wong.
Yes.
Representative Ali Brennan. Representative Delnicki. Representative Meskers.
Representative Meskers, yes.
Representative Nuccio.
Rep Nuccio is a yes.
Thank you. Senator Honig. Senator Lesser. Senator Marks. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will hold votes open till 3:30. Does that work? Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Hey, Allison.
Hey, Representative, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. All right, let's see.
So
Bear
I'm a
with
no.
me.
I'm a yes on everything except 6871.
Okay, let me just go
Hey,
over. Hey, Representative, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. All right, let's
Oh,
see.
something's
The YouTube like echoes. Okay, got it.
okay.
My bad. Let me just pull up I just want to make sure I have everything correct. So you're a yes on everything, but
6871.
okay, so Senate Bill 1322, yes. HB 7117, you vote yes. SB 1385, you vote yes. SB 1386, you vote yes. HB 6895, you vote yes. HB 6871, you vote no.
Correct.
And SB 1253, you vote yes. HB 6870, you vote yes. And SB 1278, you vote yes. Okay, I just want to make sure I have that right. So you're all set.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
good day.
you. You too.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.